Alright, welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner. Classic Lesson on Classic. This is number 2998 and Doubleshot number 2892. This one is discussing a Ghost Rider trade and that's stuff for Punisher. Ghost Rider, which is called The War for Heaven, Book 1. Which contains, get this. So, this book contains both annuals for Ghost Rider, for this volume anyway, volume 6, which I discussed the first one already, second annual, I've not discussed yet, but it does contain, for the main series, issues 20 to 32 of the main series written by Jason Aaron, by a different artist. For 2023, it's Ronald Bashi. For 24-32, it's Ronald Bashi co-does it with issues just for 30-31 for like the first 5 pages. Most of the book is Tan Egg Hunt does the artwork. You have Cy Spur doing the annual in number 2 with Mark A. Robertson on the artwork. Skipping the annual because discussed the annual already, so moving on from that. It's nice the fact that the cover art for the trade is also the cover art for issue 20. Mostly put, the opening issue is called Hell Bent, Heaven Bound. It is basically just Johnny Blaze just talking to one of the patients. Once get past, but stopped by this large woman. He even thinks that he's going to kill her with his pen stab, but nope. He proceeds to leave. But then he comes back with his Ghost Rider powers and proceeds to talk to the person named Lucius. Yep. And apparently, like, these nurses apparently got guns and knives. Yeah. So we deal with evil nurses in the story arc. Yeah, and of course, Ghost Rider does his normal thing of, like, you know, dealing with some people. Now, who's the main villain of these issues, per se? Now, of course, basically, we're leading into the, well, a storyline with Zarel, which, of course, basically, the annual is sort of supposed to be a backstory explanation of how the heck he basically, the whole thing with this retcon backstory, the fact that, well, possibly he's one who gave Johnny Blaze Zorthos, even though that was a retcon from the original story, which was actually with somebody else. Okay, so they're mostly they're called the Machine Gun Nurses. The character Naomi, who I think she made an appearance in the opening issue of the story arc, she of course basically leaves them. In the case of Lucius Coulter, he gets killed off by the end of the story arc, sadly. And of course, Danny Ketch makes an appearance in the story arc. Yep, he does. Yeah, he makes his epic return to the book. This was chronologically the first time he appeared. Last time he appeared was in his first miniseries he had before. He had the really good one by Howard Mankey, who actually created him. Yep, but prior to this very book, his last appearance was in... I'm looking up right now, because it wasn't that book, because it came out like before that.
Down this road. What is it?
So, before this story arc, he actually had last appeared. Well, back in issue 5. And he's back here for the remainder of this book before its relaunch. Yep. It's nice Dan catches back, but as for the group, the Machine Gun Nurses, they're pretty much gone by the end of the story arc. Which is basically issue 23. Yep. Which I think this is like just a quick 4-part story arc. Yeah, it's a quick 4-parter. Because it's all leading to a battle with this guy called Zarel. We also have this guy called Clayton Woshots. He started off with this story arc. And then, well, he was a survivor of a massacre, and then he gets killed off. 24 is basically, well, the start of a brand new story arc. A story arc known as God Doesn't Live on Cell Block D. And this is a 2-part story arc about Ghost Rider visiting a prison for a couple issues, dealing with this guy called the D-Kid, who does come back after this. Not much per se. He's not that big of a character in Marvel Comics, but it's something interesting. Basically, like, by the next story, we have Farmer Things, where Dan Ketch is working with Johnny Blaze. This seems like more like a flashback to when Johnny Blaze was not. That's the first appearance of Sarah. Yes. A character who still appears this very day. And plus, we have the return of the Caretaker. Yeah, his whole thing comes out, and he made a first appearance issue 23. 28 of the previous 5 for the series. Yeah, he made his return to this book, which... He was looking, really? He made a return? Yeah. Because prior to this very book, the last time he appeared was back in issue 61 of Volume 3, which came out in 1995. He appears only for these 2 issues, as sort of like a flashback, which is the first time in 13 years he's been seen. And then he appears in the awesome Dan Ketch Ghost Rider miniseries, and that's the last to see of him. So it's nice to see the Caretaker back for these 2 issues. And basically 27's debut of this character, Ezekiel, who is retconned to be the guy who gives him the Ghost Rider powers. Yeah, he's here. He's been in the background since like issue 18. Been 18 and then finally appears here in issue 27. He doesn't appear that much. He's like a character that needed to build up per se. We also the first appearance of this group known as the Order of Damios, which is basically his group, who only appear for this 1 issue. Oh yeah, and also he deals with Blackout. Yep, Blackout makes a return in this book, which he had not been seen. Probably not since Volume 3 came out. This, of course, is Dan Ketch's one. He last appeared back in... Well, actually, he last appeared in the New Avengers Annual, number 2. But last time, the Ghost Rider book was back in issue 66, which came out in 1995. So, you can appreciate Jason here bringing back characters. Also, the Caretaker gets killed off with this issue. Yep, so he brings back just to kill him off. I don't know why. By the way, the Farmer Things, it's a quick 2-parter. And then moving on, we have first appearance of a Ghost Rider named Zima, who gets killed off in this issue. She is it's a Native American, one of like a few. That's why been killed off in this issue. She does come back 2 times after this. One in the miniseries discussed next time, but then I'll talk about this book, and Doctor Strange animation. Oh yeah, and also Dan Ketch has become a villain for reasons related to this book. Probably because basically Dan Ketch is jealous of the fact, like, you could say possibly that the reason why he's jealous of the reason why he becomes a villain is because, well, he sells the fact Johnny Blaze is popular again. And it leads in, well, basically it's part of the last Stand Spirit Mentions, which is a really good story arc. It ends issue 31, which has sort of a reunion of the two. And of course, we debut more Spirit Mentions. Like, oh my gosh. Like, this is the story that kind of served as a prologue to, like, basically the miniseries War for Heaven. And by issue number 30, we debut some Ghost Riders. One is known as Moloch, who served the Old Order of Midnight Suns. He is basically a Muslim Ghost Rider. We have Bel Bai Gong Jung, who is a female Ghost Rider. Yeah, not exactly. Yeah, she's a Chinese ghost. And we have Yosho Kanabe, who is a Japanese Ghost Rider, who first appeared in issue 30, and then he returned a couple more times after that. As for the other two, well, as for the female Ghost Rider here, she actually does appear for the rest of the story. It appears in one issue, then appears a few times after that, but not much for her. As for Moloch, who was the Chinese Ghost Rider, he, of course, doesn't do very much afterwards. Oh, and debut more Ghost Riders in the story. Yeah, we debut more. By issue 4, we have Baron Skullfire, who is a, believe it or not, a Ghost Rider from the country of Congo. Yes, in Africa. Martina Bawachuk, who is also from Congo. And then we have the Phantom Riders of Congo. Because basically we're on a world traveling trip. Then we have Death Baron Skullfire, sadly. He just showed up in the kill, and then of course they have this brand new Ghost Rider, who's the Ghost Rider from the Phantom Riders of Congo, who only appears was one issue. Yep. But yeah, excellent issues. Yep. But basically, this is sort of like a prologue into the miniseries. Like, we're getting toward the very end here for this book, but I still have enjoyed reading this book so far. It is kind of interesting, though. This is probably probably the third Ghost Rider volume where it has more than one writer with it. This one has two compared to the volume 3, which had like 4 or 5-ish. Yes. But good book overall. I'll give roughly a 9 out of 10. Next up we have is It's the Punisher. Well, we have Punisher Under the Gun, which collect issues 26 to 30. Yep. So basically, for these issues, they're written by Chuck Dixon. Yep. And there are pretty much basically, this only was the second trade to collect issues from Punisher Warzone. First we debut this group known as the Felmos Clan, which are basically a Spanish group of mobsters who only appear in this one story arc. And Punisher deals with them throughout this whole thing. And basically, they're going to a place known as Rancho, Florida. Puerto Deluxe. Yeah, basically, Punisher goes to Florida for a whole story arc. Which is interesting because Chuck Dix lives in Florida currently. We have John Buscema on the artwork. Yes. Yeah, we also first appearance this place called Hotel Felista, who only appears in one issue. Yeah, Punisher deals with a like arms dealer in this one. And at Vamos Villa, this was the place where, well, the villains lived. But by the end, basically the whole group is taken out. Because the Punisher does. They debut a brand new group, and then they pretty much kill them off very quickly. Because, you know, Punisher kills gangsters, and they all get killed off by the end of the story arc. The leader, Ernesto, gets killed off at the finale. Carmentina gets killed off also in the finale. Javier gets killed off pretty much in the debut issue. But yeah, really good story arc. The story arc's called Conan with the Gun. But these are interesting issues per se. If you want to check them out, go right ahead. Oh, the trade's called Barbarian with a Gun. Even the story is called Conan with a Gun. Yeah, my guess is probably the reason why they changed the name from Conan with a Gun to Barbarian with a Gun. Probably because basically maybe later on that the Marvel has a license to Conan, so it's probably the reason they had to change the name from Conan to Barbarian. Yeah, they lost the license to Dark Horse. But good issues overall. Give it roughly a 9 out of 10. Okay, so yeah, if that's particularly a particular view, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, do the dislike button. Next up, we have the Spirit Chronicles. Okay, next view.